Lawrence Okolie versus Isaac Chamberlain. In this video, I'm going to discuss some of the key factors surrounding this fight and also make my prediction. But I want you to do the same. So jump down to the comment section and tell me who's going to win, Okolie, Chamberlain, and how do you think it's going to unfold. And remember to subscribe to the channel. So we've got Lawrence Okolie, we've got Isaac Chamberlain. It's being called British Beef and it's live at the O2. But let's be real, we've got two novices that are headlining this biggish event. They've only got about 16 fights combined. They're both young. Okolie has been on Team GB, competed in the Olympics, but did not medal. And this event has been engineered and fabricated for two reasons. Firstly, the need to sell tickets as it's at the O2, and this should not be at the O2. Okay, as far as I'm aware, the upper tier, which holds a large proportion of the seats in the O2, isn't going to be open. So there's only going to be X amount of tickets on sale. Tickets are still available for this event, so it's far from going to be selling out the O2, which is a relatively big arena. And this should be at a smaller venue, no doubt about it. And the second reason is to fulfill a TV slot that Eddie Hearn has with Sky. We know that he has the contract with Sky to put on boxing shows, X amount per year, and you know he doesn't have anything in line for the first quarter of the year, so he has had to engineer this show to satisfy his commitment, and that really is the main factor of why this show is on. And you know, moving forward, this show only has merit because of one thing, and that is that Lawrence Okolie is perceived to be a big puncher. And why is he perceived to be a big puncher? It's not that he has won most of his fights by knockout in a very short career. Okay, it's that there is a rumor that he dropped Anthony Joshua in sparring. So this whole show, you know, rests upon a rumor. Okay, it's been built upon a rumor. Wouldn't surprise me if the rumor was engineered by Eddie Hearn himself to promote Lawrence Okolie from day one. And you know, as I say, we've got two young guys, two novices that haven't really proved anything of note to date, and bringing them together, I mean, can it be harmful for both guys? You know, as I say, this is being perceived as a biggest show at a big venue, okay, live on Sky, and you have to think that this, for me, I think this has a lot of negatives for both guys, win or lose. The loser will get an early defeat. Okay, well, let's put it this way: they're both going to be handsomely paid for it, right? But the loser will get an early defeat in what's perceived to be a big fight, and this could be quite harmful, particularly for Isaac Chamberlain. A defeat in this fight, where does he go from here? He will be fighting on small cards, probably halfway down the card. That's a big come down to fighting at the O2 live on Sky, headlining, to being, you know, stuck down a card in the middle of nowhere. I mean, that's going to be tricky if he can't win. But then either way, Chamberlain, Okolie, whoever gets the win in this fight, I think he's going to be spurred on with a lot of overconfidence because they won in such, you know, headlining a big show at a big venue, live on Sky. Said it all against the same facts, okay, but winning it will breed a lot of overconfidence. And where do they go now? Do they get, you know, fast tracked to a better opponents when they're really not ready? I mean, I have problems about this, and I worry for both fighters. And you know, from what I've seen of in the build-up, there's been a lot of comparisons to when George Groves and James DeGale fought, and they kind of did headline that show, but they weren't intended to headline the show. I think there was a late caller. If I'm not mistaken, it was the Tony Bellew Nathan Cleverly fight or something like that. There was meant to be another headline, and they were meant to be just on the card, okay, before really ended up ultimately headlining that show, okay. But ultimately, they were both a lot more experienced. I mean, James DeGale had fought and outclassed Paul Smith, and Groves had a great fight against Kenny Anderson, you know, so relatively decent experience there. These two guys do not have that in the bank yet. They do not have it. I also heard, apologies, I heard someone make a comparison to the Eubank Billy Joe Saunders fight. I mean, this is not a remotely on the level. Those guys had fought for Commonwealth, British titles. They had really cemented themselves at domestic level. Okolie, Chamberlain, they have not cemented themselves on the domestic scene, the British scene. You know, they have not done that yet. They just have not done that, okay? So, you know, I have worries about this. You know, let me know what you think. Is this too early? Should this show not be going ahead? I mean, am I right in suggesting that this is 100% going because Eddie Hearn has the commitment with Sky and he is sacrificing one of these guys, really with the hope I would assume that Okolie will win in devastating fashion and, you know, he will be able to be all smiles later down the line. Okay, so, you know, there I have these concerns, but, you know, as I say, these are two novices. We can't really read a lot into what they've done to date. But let's talk about, you know, have a few comments about what we can expect. You know, one of the main things about this is Okolie. He's a huge guy. I mean, he's down as 6'5", and he has all of the physical dimensions to be a heavyweight. You know, a lot of heavyweights aren't even as big as him. He boils down to that 200 pound limit, but, you know, he could end up. You'd think that he'd probably end up being a heavyweight. It isn't going to be much of a stretch for him to end up ultimately fighting around 230. That wouldn't surprise me. So we could end up seeing him at heavyweight. If the rumours are true that he has dropped Anthony Joshua, you know, there's not much difference in the size of those two fellas. But, you know, let's not mistake this. Chamberlain, yeah, he is slightly smaller, but I mean, when you've seen them together, Chamberlain's still a big guy. He's still a big guy for cruiserweight, no doubt about it. So I don't think size will be necessarily an issue in this fight. You know, Chamberlain has had some decent sparring. You know, recently we've heard that he's been sparring Usyk, who, you know, is competing in the World Boxing Super Series, and he's, you know, one of the most highly regarded, skillful, bigger guys out there. So that can only be a benefit to him. Is it going to make much difference to him? I don't know. I mean, you could say that he's going to learn a lot of things, but he will have been brought in primarily for one reason, to benefit Usyk. And, you know, a byproduct of him being able to spar with Usyk is that he's able to spar with him, okay? So he will have learned something, but, you know, all the benefit is he will have been sparring in a specific style, okay? So the one thing I will say about Chamberlain is that he's shown an ability to go through adversity. He fought Wladimir Camacho, you know, his shoulder popped out, and he fought through that. He got it back in there, and he went on, and he won that. You know, it's good, and he you know, he's a cultured, skillful boxer from the limited that we've seen from him. But I worry that he's a little bit slow on his feet and a bit ponderous. I don't know. From what I've seen, I think that there's limitations to him, and because of that, if he loses here, I think he is going to struggle to get big fights moving forward. Whereas with Okolie, as I say, we are led to believe that he is this big punching machine, but he is wild. He has good energy. I mean, I think we've seen improvements on each fight. I mean, he had that fight that went the 6 rounds, and a lot of people were disappointed with it because he didn't knock this guy out. But I think it's good experience to get rounds, and he dominated the guy, and he did struggle in certain aspects of it, but he dropped him, and I thought it was a reasonable performance. So going forward, I'm going to make my prediction. I mean, as I say, this is 2 novices going at it, and I fancy Okolie to get the job done. I fancy him to stop Chamberlain, and that's what I think. I just fancy Okolie. I think he's the bigger, he's the more mobile, he's the more powerful hitting, and I think over the course of the fight he will get the opportunity to land and drop and stop Chamberlain. So what do you think? As I say, let me know about what you think about my issues about this fight happening. Let me know who you're picking. Who are you picking? Are you picking Isaac Chamberlain? Are you picking Lawrence Okolie? And remember to subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next video.